Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradingPub.com daily report. Appreciate you tuning in today. And real quick before we get started, just give you a second to read through a risk disclaimer. Again, not making any kind of recommendations here, just sharing general thoughts on the market. TradingPub rule of the day is risking two to make one is not a good idea. This is a mistake that I see a lot of traders make. They get into trades, they risk a lot of money and take very small profits. If you're not making the trades pay you, then you don't need to take the trade. So again, a lot of people will try to trade and they'll say, I have several good days or good weeks, and then all of a sudden you have one bad day that wipes out the week or wipes out the month, or one bad trade that takes you back a couple weeks. And again, you've got to watch your risk reward. And something that I would just tell you from the beginning is that risking two to make one is not a good idea. If risking two to make one is not a good idea, risking three or four or five to make one is not a good idea. So you got to manage your risk on the trades. Extremely important to do that. That, in my opinion, is probably the main reason a lot of traders struggle making money when they're starting out, is that they take large risk and then they take very small profits. So make the good trades pay you. You'll be a lot better off and taking fewer opportunities than trying to get in every single trade. But again, risking two to make one is not a good idea. Real quick before we go to the charts for the day, two things I want to point out that are important in today's market. Obviously, if you're watching Amazon at all, you know that Amazon shares plunged after the earnings. We were trading around 230 on Amazon yesterday. Earnings came out. We went down to around the 190 area, and actually revenues were down a bit, and then it looked like they lowered some of their guidance as well. So it really was not a good thing as far as Amazon goes yesterday. And we did see Amazon come back. We bounced up to the 203, 204 area, went as high as 208, but kind of settling in around that 200, which, if you think about it, it's down over 10% from the previous day when we were up around 225, 230. So again, that's extremely important. And then another interesting article I found, and something that the Trading Pub focuses a lot on, is understanding the global market and the importance of the global market. And we look at a lot of futures a lot of times to see how the global markets are doing. But if you're looking for kind of more of a long-term play in some other markets, here's a list of 5 country-specific ETFs that have been rallying. And again, one here is the Australia small cap that you see. You've got Canada, Hong Kong, Peru, and then Argentina. So some more growth type plays in some of the emerging markets, and then looking at some in more stable economies like Australia and Canada. So again, some good ETFs to just kind of keep on your radar. That was KROO, CNDA, HKK, EPU, and then ARGT for the Argentina ETF. But again, definitely a good article here and some ETFs to keep an eye on if you want to try to gain some international exposure. So again, very helpful there. All right, let's take a look at the charts, and actually we're going to cover the E-mini S&P, and then a market I really feel has kind of been forgotten, which is the crude oil market. It's had an incredible rally along with equities, but we're going to bring in actually one of our technical analysts to take a look at it, of what they're seeing in crude oil longer term. Looking at the S&Ps right now, we rallied up in the Globex session up to 1240 and actually topped out 1240 early this morning, and then we started the sell-off right around the cash open. You saw that we came down to 1227. That 1227 was a big area of support. The next area of support below that is going to be 1220 to 1222, which is kind of where we're trading right now, and then 1216 area will be the next support on the S&P futures. So 1216 on the S&P futures will actually put us about 1220 for those of you watching the SPX or the cash market. So again, looking at a lot of support here at 20 to 22, and then below that 1216 as next support level. So again, it's extremely important to watch that area. Still, as far as resistance goes now, we'll look at 1227, and then the 1230 to 33, above that 1242, and then up at 1256, which was the yearly open on the S&P. All right, at this time we're going to turn it over to one of our technical analysts, take a look at the crude oil market that you see here. This is the actual chart, a daily chart of the mini crude contract on futures.
Okay, good morning. We're going to talk about crude oil today and some recent setups in the crude oil market. Crude oil has run up around 6% over the last 3 days, hitting a 3-month high. We're wanting to look for some long setups in the crude oil market. There was a 1, 2, 3 bottom setup on a daily chart on the December contract, December and March contracts that we're looking at. You can see the made a number one low here around the 75.60 area, came up and tested the fib retracement of 76% at 89.72, came back down to 84.50 and fell at the trend line and then resumed higher. The only thing we don't really like about this 1, 2, 3 bottom setup is that the number 3 bottom here is only 2 days past the number 2 high. We usually like to see for a little bit further separation. Plus, your risk is around $10,000 from the number 2 point to the number 1 point. Seasonally, we're flat going into the end of the year, and we start seeing some lows basing in February, and then see the seasonal uptrend higher going into July. Looking at the dollar index on your left-hand side, you can see that there's a direct inverse relationship, and a lot of this dollar weakness is attributable to the higher prices in crude oil. And so if we continue to see dollar weakness, you can expect to see higher legs up on crude oil. Otherwise, I would expect maybe some continued choppiness throughout the end of the year. If we did get a pullback to this trend line, it might be a good time, a good place to enter new long contracts or new long option contracts going further out into 2012. The dollar is strong today. The equities are weak, and so we're seeing a slight pullback on crude. So that's what we're watching today. Thanks for joining us.
All right, well, that's all for today. And again, just a reminder to join us for our next event, which is going to be on Thursday, which is tomorrow, October 27th at 4:30 Eastern Time. TradingPub's presenting a bull versus bear options shootout. We've got 2 professional options traders coming on that will be looking at bullish versus bearish strategies on some of the top trading stocks in the market. And you can register for this event by following the instructions below. Hope you have a good day, good trading.